Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Dragon Ball Nation, and today I'm going to be bringing a special guest on with my Q&A, and it is...
Alrighty, guys, it is Qaaman here today.
Yeah, and we're, as I said, doing my weekly Q&A, so let's get right into this video.
Josh, you gotta do the question of the day.
I usually do, so let's get that started. Why is a healthy lifestyle so trendy now? Well, for me, I went to the usual, general dollar store that I have around the place I live in. I saw this aloe, like aloe oil, aloe vera. They had some sort of drink there. And I'm like, I'm going to pick this up because it's got to be terrible. It's healthy, it's got to be a terrible drink. It's made from a plant. And it's used as a rubbing lotion. So I bought it and had some. It was actually incredible. And I think healthy lifestyles are so trendy because people have been looking good in the recent years. I don't know what to say. What do you say, Qaaman?
Yeah, I think that it's, because a lot of these companies and, all these programs are like trying to promote like a healthy lifestyle because a lot of people are not eating healthy. So I think it's kind of like a counterintuitive way to like counter, all the unhealthy things out there.
Right. Okay. Who turned SSJ at a younger age, Goten or Trunks, since we never know how old both were when they first transformed? I'd say Goten.
Well, I would say him too. Considering he's younger than Trunks, but we don't know for sure. It was said that he could go Super Saiyan by the time he was 3. I remember reading somewhere it said that. And, even though I don't think that's official source, I do think that Goten, considering the fact that he's a year younger than Trunks, if they started around the same time, as it was kind of implied, as he said he had like fight games with Trunks, then I would assume Goten was a little bit younger.
Right. So. Yeah. And I think Goten definitely has more potential than Trunks, so that could play a role. Due to the fact that Goten's training was obviously very different.
No, I don't want to put GT in this, but how old do you think Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. were when they turned Super Saiyan? They looked like they were around the age of Goten and Trunks.
They had this very similar body type and structure, so I would say that they were, I assume the Dragon Ball GT movie, The Hero's Legacy, would be canon to GT at least. And, I'd assume Goku Jr. didn't get that much older before that tournament. And I'd assume Vegeta Jr. actually probably transformed before Goku Jr., considering he was more than likely training. I would assume, but it's very hard to say because it's a 100-year time gap. Society and their families changed drastically.
And Pan was as young as ever.
Why didn't King Kai and Goku wish for all those pure-hearted killed by Frieza in the past year to be revived? Same wish used during the Buu arc to revive all pure hearts. Do you think it wasn't that scenario due to Vegeta being dead and not bringing him back? What do you say?
Well, all those pure-hearted killed by Frieza in the past year, honestly, I just think that it has to be with the situation, because when they used the Dragon Balls, it was kind of like an emergency maneuver to get off Namek. I don't think they really factored in all of those pure-hearted people who were killed by Frieza because, quite frankly, you can't use a wish to stop everything in the universe, and I think it kind of goes along with that theory. Could you imagine how many people die in the universe, in the Dragon Ball world, every second? From unnatural causes. They can't stop it, so I think it goes along that line.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have nothing to add to that. Okay. Do you think that Vegeta makes DBZ's storyline more potent and better than without him? Yeah, he's just another one of the most in-depth characters in the entire series. He has some of the most depth, so it definitely makes the story a lot more fleshed out and enjoyable, I say. I guess that's what they're trying to say. That's like saying, what if Piccolo wasn't there, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, personally,
but that would cause a lot of problems as well. But
I think that Vegeta, he's actually my third favorite character, Vegeta, and Piccolo obviously is number 1. But I definitely think Vegeta makes the story a lot more interesting because it kind of like gives us like a counter perspective to Goku, and I've always felt that it was kind of interesting. Like Goku and Vegeta have very, very different lifestyles in itself. Vegeta was like this, praised prodigy fighter by the time he was a kid. Vegeta's family, even counting Bulma and Trunks, are like more urban, whereas Goku's family is more country, and Goku's always been like the underdog. And quite frankly, I mean, they train in so many different ways. Goku's training to get better and to rest. Vegeta trains basically to kill himself and see if his body can survive it. And I feel like, it's always been such a positive, energy in Dragon Ball Z to have both of those two conflicting forces. So I definitely think Vegeta makes the storyline a lot more potent, even though Vegeta has screwed up a lot of major events in the series, like Cell and, a lot of other instances.
That's right. I completely agree. If you could choose one of the Z Warriors that's, I guess, stayed out of the new movie to fight alongside Frieza's warrior, who would it be? So I guess, whatever characters weren't shown in the movie, I guess. So
I think it's pretty obvious what I would say.
Yeah. I would agree with exactly what you're going to say, and for those of you who don't want to hear us, skip ahead 30 seconds or so, or until we delete this question to avoid spoilers. So, I mean, for me, it'd have to be Goten and Trunks.
Yeah, I mean, I actually made a video topic, and about a week before it was released, that they weren't even going to be in the movie, and I really was thinking that they were going to have a major role because they weren't showing them, but quite frankly, it was the polar opposite. They weren't shown at all, and I feel like it's kind of cheap because, I mean, I'm sure we all wanted to see what Goten and Trunks would look like, and it would also be cool to see how they would, get into a fight against Frieza's soldiers. I thought it'd be a pretty interesting way to, have a lot more character interaction. And not to mention, I mean, the reason why I thought it would be interesting is because Trunks looks like, obviously the Trunks that killed Frieza, just a lot younger, or actually around the age now by this point, close to enough. And Goten looks like Goku, so it'd be kind of interesting to see, people who look like Goku and Trunks, and just cutting them out of the movie completely. Just think it's bad. And I mean, I just can't see how Goten and Trunks wouldn't have jumped in, sensing a power that huge. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was just terrible writing. But...
And Majin Buu too, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Turn them all into chocolate, eat them at the end of the fight.
Yeah. Do you think Goku went SSJ2 against Yakon when he allowed him to swallow his light of energy? I think he, experted, if that's even a word. He, pushed out a minuscule, a brief moment of Super Saiyan 2 energy. The reason I say this, I actually did a video on it a very long time ago. The reason I say this is because Vegeta in that moment was very shocked and had taken note of that burst of energy, and Gohan and the Supreme Kai didn't even notice it. But Vegeta did catch wind of it, and I think Vegeta, maybe due to Vegeta's strength at the time, was stronger than Gohan. He did notice that little small burst of energy. What do you say, Qaaman?
Well, I don't think he really went Super Saiyan 2, based off of the... I mean, I don't like using the hair argument, but I just don't think he powered up that much because I don't think it would be necessary. I mean, I just think that Goku was just powering up to just basically blow Yakon up because obviously he could tell that he was, going to be overwhelmed with the amount of energy. It just doesn't feel necessary for him to go Super Saiyan 2 in that situation because I'm sure Goku could sense how weak Yakon was compared to him. So I definitely think that he would have been Super Saiyan 1. And I think another way to support this is because Vegeta said that he could tell Goku was stronger than him when he saw Goku fighting Yakon. And obviously, Goku's Super Saiyan 1 form can at least give Vegeta some indication that Goku would have been, out of his range because he knows how strong he would be as a Super Saiyan 1. So I definitely think that going Super Saiyan 1 is definitely enough to highlight everything.
Unless Vegeta doesn't think Goku has a Super Saiyan 2 form, but he didn't seem very surprised when Goku used it during their fight together. So
true, but he did say you were stronger than your son. So
right,
I definitely
right, yeah. Okay, I don't think this is a question for you at all. I don't think you play Metal Gear Solid or Red Dead Redemption, do you?
No.
Alright. I think Ocelot from Snake Eater could have handled John Marston. Ocelot looks underrated just because he was outclassed by the boss and Big Boss, but in reality he's really good. From Amari McWright. Well, the thing is that Ocelot in the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater was very clumsy with that pistol he had, then he later moved on to a revolver. And the reason I say John Marston is better because he was like the best shot in the entire West in the game. He could, I guess the game mechanic, he could slow down time and, shoot all those targets. If you want to use that as an argument, you can, that's fine. the thing is, the Ocelot was always shown being very clumsy, and yes, at the end of the game, he was much more skilled with the revolvers, but I just give John Marston the edge because he's much more experienced with the revolvers, and Ocelot was just getting used to him. I'm sure you have nothing to add to that, Qaaman?
Nothing at all.
The Spirit Bomb is such an ineffective technique. It's been used 3 times in the canon series and only worked once after Goku added an extra blast into it. Marmic, right? I mean, it's really just a last resort, and it's not, always sure to win, but you have to try it if the stakes require it, right?
I agree. I mean, there's really not much to say in that situation, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you could say it's ineffective. It was used, 3 times. I'm not going to question the amount of times, but quite frankly, I think it's just timing, and I think it's just, who are you going to use it on, because if it could beat Boo but not beat Frieza, it clearly shows the amount of energy required. And quite frankly, Josh, as you've seen in Dragon Ball Z, for every single sequence for the Spirit Bomb and for many other powering up huge energy blast situations, we've always seen that there's always going to be one character in every scenario, Josh, and question me if I'm wrong, that a character has to intentionally get beaten up for the person to charge it up, or any type of blast. I think that's the most reoccurring theme in Dragon Ball Z. Characters powering up a blast, somebody has to get beaten up in the process to hold them up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with the first Spirit Bomb Goku used against Vegeta, he kind of did that by himself, right?
No, but I was also counting when Gohan had to, fight Vegeta to get beaten up while Krillin was using it, and then
right, okay.
Piccolo had to do it against Frieza, then Vegeta and Fappo had to do it, and then you could also look at other situations. Goku had to get beaten up by Raditz for Piccolo to use Special Beam Cannon, so just a theory I've always wanted to put out there.
I would seriously not blame Chi-Chi for divorcing Goku. I know what Goku does to her is mostly for comedic effect, but leaving for years at a time and not paying attention to any of her needs, I 100% bet if Chi-Chi were to bring up this to Goku, he would instant transmission away from a Marmic, right? Chi-Chi's just a very faithful woman. Just don't see that nowadays. He's a lucky guy.
Half the time he was dead, so what is there really to divorce from?
That's true. Technically she's a widow, and then what happens when she comes back? Is she still a widow?
No.
Does the marriage get restored?
Yeah. I definitely think Chi-Chi has one of the most depressing wife stories of all time. Husband's partially dead, sometimes comes back, takes your son to train against extremely powerful monsters.
Let's not forget when Piccolo took Gohan.
Yeah. Alien kidnaps him to train him. He goes to a foreign planet where there's even stronger aliens. He's had a horrible... Her son was absorbed. She was killed. She has a very depressing life. Poor Chi-Chi.
Let's not forget to mention she has to cook that Saiyan dinner, too. And the dishes. It's funny that in DBZ, every 2 episodes, someone is always saying, "I never sensed power this big." It's also from a Marmic, right? I don't think it's that frequently, but they do definitely say it quite a bit in the series, but, they have to introduce stronger villains, and they have to make us aware of that.
Yep. They said it for Raditz, too, remember?
Yeah. And he's a shrimp cake now.
Yep.
Fukatsu no F Gohan versus future Gohan with all the strength he required up to his death with both of his arms. Do you think that Fukatsu no F Gohan declined that much? Okay. More Fukatsu no F spoilers, so if you don't want to hear of this, just mute it until this question's deleted. I'd give it to future Gohan considering the fact that Fukatsu no F Gohan can barely go Super Saiyan, and 18's supposed to be stronger. Now I know future Gohan's not stronger than 18, but I'm just giving future Gohan the edge here. If Fukatsu no F Gohan could barely go Super Saiyan, that's saying a lot.
Josh, the thing is that if you really think about it, for him to really barely be able to use it, does that mean? Honestly, man, now I'm thinking about it, I'm getting second thoughts because I can see this going 2 ways. You can say he could barely use Super Saiyan as him getting weaker, but you could also use it as him being rusty, but not necessarily losing Super Saiyan. because if you actually look at him turning Super Saiyan in that little trailer, he did do it pretty easy. So I think that he kind of meant it was rusty. I really don't think it declined his power that much. But from what Rhymestyle has said, and quote Rhymestyle on this, not me, he said that 18 wanted to go fight against Frieza's henchmen more than Krillin, Gohan, Piccolo, and the rest of the gang, because she said that she was stronger than all of them, which means that 18 would now be stronger than Gohan and Piccolo. Now the others are probably will always be weaker than 18, but for Piccolo and Gohan to be weaker than 18, especially Gohan, that is an enormous decrease in power over time. And, you know, I've always felt that.
I definitely think, especially for Piccolo, that the decline didn't even make any sense. But I feel like there's a discussion video that can be made for that for another time. But, you know, I just say that I think Fugatsu no F Gohan will probably lose to future Gohan. But based off what you said, I might be leaning towards the latter, but it's really hard to say because, you know, we don't even know how strong exactly future Gohan is. We have a ballpark, but we don't really know. But, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Do you watch Family Guy from Blake Funnel? Or Funel? Yeah, I watch Family Guy. Not so much anymore, but I don't watch a lot of TV that much now. How about you, Qaaman?
To be honest with you, Josh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that show had one of the most classic songs. It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and what, Josh?
Sex on TV.
But honestly, that was an awesome show. I mean, I don't watch Family Guy much now, but I'm sure when I first started watching Adult Swim, that was like the show to watch. So yeah.
Okay. If you could use any super move in real life except into transmission, what would it be? I mean,
does flying count?
Yeah, I'm gonna say flying doesn't count here. I mean, if he means flying, then that's easily flying. And I'm not gonna use the BS answer of, you know, having the ability to make any power I want, but I'll just say flying. And if I have to take something from Dragon Ball Z, I'll just say the Kamehameha wave. What about you?
I'd probably say flying and special beam cannon.
Of course. Not Hellzone grenade?
Actually, I think Hellzone's actually a cooler move. I'll go with Hellzone.
I guess that'd be a lot less practical to use in real world though.
The thing is Hellzone grenade, in my opinion, I don't really think of it as like a specific move because it's really just shooting Kai Blast and like throwing them at a certain direction. So I don't really look at it as a move in its own. It's just a manipulated version of Kai Blast. But yeah, I guess if you count that.
Are you a fan of D's Nuts Vine? It's meh in my opinion. People just need to stop spamming it. I'm not familiar with that at all. I don't watch Vines anymore. Are you familiar with this?
No, but I've heard a lot of people say D's nuts. But I think Blake Funnel deserves a little shout out because he's been a trooper here with a lot of these questions. It's kind of blurred for me. Is it Blake Funnel?
Blake Funnel, Blake Funel, depending on how he pronounced it. I mean, 2 N's and 2 L's, so, you know. I'm going to assume Funnel, but if we're mispronouncing your name, we apologize. Would you rather eat a ghost pepper with 2 gallons of hot sauce or run snake without any food? I guess he made snake way. Definitely the ghost pepper with 2 gallons of hot sauce. I mean, I've already eaten a ghost pepper before. 2 gallons of hot sauce would definitely be quite the task, but snake way, I'd never finish that. What would you say?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really know what a ghost pepper is. I'm assuming it's just a pepper.
It's one of the. I think it's like in the top 5 hottest peppers.
Well, I mean, snake way. I mean, I don't think I'd ever finish, but
no way.
I guess I'm gonna have to go with ghost pepper and just, you know, eat a senzu bean when I'm done.
And I mean, without food, you'd starve.
Exactly.
No one wants to go out like that. I guess I could just jump off Snake Way and then it'd bring me to hell, but you know, hell in Dragon Ball Z, at least from, you know, the filler, was very nice. But as we've seen in
Home for Infinite Losers.
Lord have mercy.
HFIL.
Do you think the Arcosians are Frieza's race? I do, so you better. JK Lol from Blake Funeral. Now, you did a video on this with Rhymestyle and Black and Fist, correct?
Yeah, a couple of months ago. If you could link it, that'd be nice.
I'll definitely link it. I actually don't remember what your opinion was, but I personally don't think that it was Frieza's race, to be honest. I just think that they seem to be too weak of a race. And I mean, considering from, even though it's contradictory, and I guess he could have been a mutation of the Arcosians, even though they're filler. King Cold was said to spawn Frieza from himself, so unless King Cold's a very powerful mutation of the Arcosians, I can't see them being the same race, because the Arcosians were shown to be a not so powerful race that needed the Saiyans' brute force, and the Saiyans themselves weren't very powerful in comparison to like Frieza and King Cold. I don't remember what you said in your video, so
I mean, I'll just sum it up by saying that there are a lot of interesting coincidences that Arcosians and Frieza's race have in common, but I've always said that there's just not enough evidence to say for a legitimate fact that Arcosians are Frieza's race. That's all I have to say.
Now, I'll read this next question, but I just want to state that I do not have an answer all policy for questions like this. I'll answer this. You know what? Why don't you read this?
Thanks, John.
You haven't read a question, and I'd like to hear you read one.
Have you ever watched porn? If so, how big were the tits of the girls or the penis of the men, if you're into that, JJK? Blake Funnel again. Yes, I have watched porn. I think 99% of curious teenage young males and adults have watched porn at some point in their life because of the abundance of it on the internet. I think the girls' tits were pretty nice, and I'd prefer not to comment about the other body part.
Yeah, I said what he says. Alright, moving on. Have you seen Mad Max Fury Road? If not, drop everything and go see it right now. Don't have any trailers. Don't watch any trailers, just go now, quick, hurry. Witcher 3 may be amazing, but Fury Road is the shit, DBN. I've seen it 3 times. Well, I mean, Mad Max Fury Road may be amazing. I almost saw After Work the other day. But I mean, I have about 80 hours in The Witcher 3. I don't think I'm getting off that game anytime soon. But I do want to see Mad Max. What do you say, Qaaman?
I don't know anything about Mad Max. I don't even know what it is. Can you brief it in?
No.
What is Mad Max? You don't know?
It's a post-apocalyptic world with cars and stuff. Yeah, you wouldn't be interested. But Witcher 3, that's good stuff right there. Moving on. Have you ever played Five Nights at Freddy's or Minecraft? I've played Minecraft. I don't really care for it, and I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's.
I played Five Nights at Freddy's, but I've never played. Well, actually, I have played Minecraft. Yeah, I did that little thing with Dino a couple months ago. So yeah, I have played Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dragon Block Z.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And whenever the new server comes out, I'll definitely get back to that. So yeah, I have.
Okay. Dr. Pepper or Coke? That's Dr. Pepper, but I love Coke. But I'd say Dr. Pepper.
I say Coke because I've drank Dr. Pepper a couple times and I felt it was too light, so.
Another one from Blake Funnel. He's asking a ton, but it looks like he's lighting up after this one. How tall is your mom? Shorter than me, and I'm 6'1", I think.
Yeah, what's interesting, me and you were around the same height. I'm 6 feet myself, and my mom's 5'2".
Well, I thought you were Namekian.
Oh, sorry. Well, that doesn't mean
that's
anything.
very short. Moving on.
Hey man, Dende.
Yeah. The bitch versus the boss. Well, I don't know who the bitch is, so I'm gonna give it to the boss.
I'm going with the boss.
Unless you're referring to some ex-girlfriend who I will not. I'm not even gonna. Let's move on. Big Bang Attack. Yeah, the boss. Big Bang Attack versus Big Boss Attack. All right. Well, the boss is pretty strong, but the Big Bang Attack is a planet buster. I don't see a fight.
The worst a Big Boss Attack could be is fire. You're fired.
Oh my god. There's no sight she'd rather see than poor old broken-hearted me. Her mission is a misery. You just give me some song lyrics, man? I think you just gave me some song lyrics. Well, I hope your life doesn't represent those song lyrics, because that is absolutely terrible for it. What do you have to say, Qaaman?
I've got no comment on this, bro.
Alright. Next question. Let's see if you have anything to say here. Saints Row the Third versus GTA 4. Hands down GTA 4.
I say Saints Row the Third.
Well, I guess we're moving on. Well, why do you like Saints Row better?
I don't know. I just felt like it was a very, very interactive game. And I've always liked Grand Theft Auto. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a GTA hater. It's just, I kind of feel like Saints Row, I don't know, it gave me something different. I can't really explain it. And GTA, I feel like there's so many of them. At some point, it's like, yeah, GTA, 10 trillion, get over it. You know, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Well, I do like Saints Row, but GTA 4 was one of the most diverse open world experiences I've played. It had so much to do, pool, darts, getting drunk, all sorts of things. And then GTA 5 kind of just took it to the next level. That's why GTA 5 is my favorite game of all time. Marcus...
4 was the one with Nikolai, right?
Nico, yes.
Nico, yeah.
Yeah. Marcus and Nick are protagonists of true crime video game series. Did you play True Crime New York City or Streets of LA? I've played True Crime and I think they're terrible.
I've never played.
I did play Sleeping Dogs, which is originally a true crime game, and Sleeping Dogs is pretty great actually, but I think true crime games in general are pretty bad. I can't even talk. You're answering questions right now, aren't you? Yes, I am. Isn't that right?
Yep.
True Crime Streets of LA versus True Crime New York City. They're both terrible. You have anything to say?
Nothing.
If Cell and Goku went in the hyperbolic time can you read this for me, please?
If Cell and Goku went into the hyperbolic time chamber and forced to train together, do you agree that they'd be the most coolest duo with potential ever? Not counting Beerus and Whis, Cell alone has Frieza and Saiyan Cell, so his potential to get stronger is scary. Think of the dynamic between the two. I try to sound like the narrator from Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, if we're considering Super Perfect Cell as his base form, base power, his power could skyrocket due to training.
You gotta remember, Cell could also be a punching bag to help Goku get a lot stronger because he could just regenerate if something bad happens.
And let's not forget how much stronger Goten and Trunks got in the time chamber in a few weeks. I don't remember specifics. I think it was like 6 weeks or so, but I don't remember specifics. But it was not very long.
Well, this is honestly a fun question, but let's just point out really quick, it's not very realistic because...
No, not at all.
Can't see Cell training with Goku.
I still wonder if Cell would ever train. It's very hard to say. I would probably lean towards more that he wouldn't train, due to the fact that, if he ever had the opportunity to train, there would be no one stronger than him anyways. But if there was someone stronger than him, it's possible he could train, but it doesn't seem very likely. But I'd like to think he has that personality. Okay. Hey, I'm going to take a break off Ask FM until last day of school. My last day is today, so see you later.
Okay.
All right, David asked a lot of questions, but yeah, I'm sure he's probably, well, actually, I don't know, it was 17 hours ago. Anyways, Kid Buu versus Grey Buu. I don't think it's very hard.
Well, what do you say, Josh?
Kid Buu.
Yeah, from the fight that we saw, the anime exaggerates a lot more than the manga. In the manga, Fat Buu was absorbed like an instant, but considering the fact that, Kid Buu was like an actual, like an original form, whereas Grey Buu is just an evil manifestation, I'd have to say Kid Buu because he's like the pure form, so I don't know. That's just my opinion. But if you guys really want to know more about this whole Buu form stuff, Josh and I did a video with beautiful friends from around the world a couple of days ago on the many forms of Majin Buu, so that's a pretty good video.
That's right. I'll link that down in the description for you guys. SSJ2 Gohan post Bojack Saga Zenkai serious enraged. So I guess these are taking the movie into account that he would have a small Zenkai, but he'd also be declining at some degree. Versus Super Saiyan 2 Goku post fight with Majin Vegeta. No Zenkai, semi-serious state difficulty. I think Goku would win with moderate difficulty.
I think that, yeah, considering, you got to think that this is Gohan, even though he was the strongest 7 years ago. Goku and Vegeta were training a lot harder over those years, so I'd say that Goku and Vegeta would have been stronger, both individually. And I'd say moderate difficulty. It definitely wouldn't be an easy fight.
This next question's perfect for you. Go ahead. You're the Yu Hakusho guy here.
Younger Toguro versus Garlic Jr. Honestly, if we're going with the younger Toguro, we're going with the one who fought Yusuke. So, if I were to say he went out 100%, I'd still say he'd lose to Garlic Jr. considering, I mean, if you're counting the filler Garlic Jr. or the one from the movie, I'd say that he would still be much stronger than Toguro because, I mean, Toguro's power for Yu Yu Hakusho scale would probably be equivalent to, like, maybe Cyberman Raditz power level, so he wouldn't even be close to, you know, post-Namek Saga characters, so I'm going to have to go with Garlic Jr.
Yeah.
Wait, he said Dead Zone Garlic Jr. That's actually a better, I didn't notice the Dead Zone part.
Oh, yeah.
I'd still say that Dragon Ball Z characters could probably beat Yu Yu Hakusho characters, maybe at that point. Maybe Dragon Ball, but early Dragon Ball Z I'd give maybe a slight edge, but that's my opinion. Younger Toguro though, probably, but probably Sensui I'd probably have to say no. That's my opinion.
Okay. Through my intense calculations, I have concluded that full power of Beerus equals 2,000 times Super Saiyan 3 Goku if Beerus was using 0.5% of his power when he fought Goku. Do you agree? So I feel this ends the Super Saiyan 4 Super Saiyan God debate. I think I disagree with you. I have my own calculations that I've made, and I did a video on a long time ago that I took off because I'm planning on doing something much better with the information I had. But you know, I've shared it with people before, and they seem to think it's pretty good evidence. I disagree with I definitely don't think Beerus was 2,000 times stronger than Goku. I mean, that's so insane. You guys don't even, I think a lot of people don't even understand that. And you gotta imagine that I've said this before, and you know, people debate this with me, and that's fine. I'm gonna stand by what I said. Beerus said he was using some of his power, and you know, it wasn't a lot, but he was using his power to some degree. It definitely wasn't 0.5. So I definitely don't think that it's point. I mean,
well,
is that math even correct? If let's say if we multiply it by 2 and then go by 100 to equal Beerus's 100%, that wouldn't be 2,000, would it? Would that be 200, right?
Josh, can I please just point out something here really quickly? For those of you who want to get a scale, because it's been very heavily implied that the difference in power has nothing to do in Dragon Ball Z, it's the difference in proportions. And considering the fact that Goku, who was 20% stronger than Frieza on Namek, was able to beat him, because Frieza was 120 and Goku was 150 mil. Considering the fact that, you know, only a 20% difference in power can do that much damage, you gotta understand that when in Dragon Ball Z, if you're twice as strong as somebody, that's enough to demolish them. You don't have to be more than twice as strong as somebody to destroy them in a fight. So when you factor all of that in, I just wanted to say this. I did a little bit of calculation here as Josh was doing this question. Do you understand something? When you say that Beerus is 2,000 times the strength of Goku, that is like comparing the farmer from Dragon Ball Z to a person who has a power level of 10,000. I'll say this again. That is like saying you're comparing the farmer from Dragon Ball Z to a person who has a power level of 10,000. So that's like saying Goku, who fought Vegeta using Kaioken, at least the first Kaioken, compared to the farmer who got killed by a deflection of a bullet from Raditz. That's the difference in power you're really comparing here, and I'm sure Josh gets a much better highlight of this now, comparing 10,000 to 5.
That was a perfect way to, you know, describe this situation, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Super Saiyan 4 Super Saiyan God debate will never end. Lord Beerus versus Baby Vegeta final form. I, as a Dragon Ball Z YouTuber, a lot of people know that I do think the GT characters should be stronger due to power scaling, even though the feats aren't consistently as impressive. I have done analysis and calculations, and I've really have looked at the things that happen in Battle of Gods to figure out maybe, you know, around where Beerus would be, and a lot of people disagree, and that's fine. I stand by everything I say, and I'm open to suggestions and arguments, and that's I'm free to debate those. I think that Baby Vegeta, considering that, I mean, he was beating Super Saiyan 3 Goku, even though he was a child, if base form Goku from GT is as strong as Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Z, and the Super Saiyan 3 multiplier is 400, that would mean that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is 400 times stronger than the Goku that fought Beerus, roughly. Even though that Goku should be stronger, you know, we can maybe say 300 for sakes and purposes. I can't, and you know, Baby's obviously stronger than that, so I can't see Beerus being 300 to 400 times stronger than Goku. That's just insane of a jump. I mean, considering the fact that he was using a portion of his power, yes. And I know there's going to be almost no one that agrees with me on this, and that's fine, but I think Baby Vegeta would be stronger due to power scaling. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you want to factor that in, and like I've always said, Josh, I know it's not a very good argument, but you have said that even though it's not the strongest argument, it's a very hard argument to display that if GT and Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods exist in the same universe, it makes no sense to get weaker 20 years later. And considering that would have been the Vegeta who could possibly go Super Saiyan God in GT, if that's the case, then Baby would have been on that Vegeta's body who's much stronger. So it makes no sense for Vegeta to decline in power over time, and adding Baby, it just makes sense. Now, if you're going by that, you know, I agree with Josh's argument, but I'm just saying that basic argument is very hard to display, right?
I mean, unless you consider the pure Super Saiyan God form with the blue hair. I mean, if you don't consider them in the same universe, what would you say? Who would you say is stronger if you take them as separate universes, based upon feats that you've seen? And obviously, you know, I haven't said this on the air, but I've discussed with you off the air about this plentiful amount of times.
Well, I think you make a pretty good point when you were talking about Goku's fight against, what was it, Super Saiyan 3, I'm sorry, Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku versus Baby. I think that goes a pretty good way to say you compared that fight with Beerus, and you considered that if Goku was stronger than what he was in Battle of Gods, and I'm assuming he's way stronger, then even though he was a kid, you know, there are theories that Goku's power declined. We don't know how much. It's hard to calculate how much, but
and we don't even know if he declined. He could have just been speaking that he couldn't handle the form as much because his body's smaller and more compact.
But I do personally agree that Goku did decline, but I don't know how much. And the reason I say this is because, Josh, if you compare yourself at 10 to 50, 60 years old, in the case of Goku because he's still in his prime, a 10-year-old can never be as strong as a 50, on not counting Dragon Ball Z, because obviously super powerful characters are different, but like on a regular scale, you just can't be, like a kid just can't, he's just not as developed. And I think that goes a way to say that you just can't do as much as you are when you're an adult. The reason why he can't go Super Saiyan 3 is he just can't handle it because he's a kid. I think that has a lot to do with it too, and that's why I personally think that. But that's just my opinion. That's my theory, and that's my reason for saying it. I agree with your whole comparison of the fight.
All right.
It's probably the most controversial question we've got.
Oh, well, no, I see one a little bit down below that'll be a little more controversial, but you know, it's fine.
But when he means final form, does he mean monkey baby?
He does not mean the monkey. I think the monkey baby will be a lot easier. I mean, considering that was able to stand up to Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Liquid Ocelot versus Mercenary Tao. I mean, Mercenary Tao did throw up. Who did he throw in there? What's his name? I'm on a blank. You'll know. What's his name that he threw up and then speared? Why am I blanking on
Bora.
this? That's right. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but I did know. I mean, Liquid Ocelot, I don't think he can throw someone that high. I mean, sure, he could spear someone, but he threw him so far in the air that I can't see Liquid Ocelot doing that. I'm sure Liquid Ocelot... he's from Metal Gear Solid. He's extremely good at martial arts, and you know, Metal Gear story is so complex. I could be here hours explaining it, but he's essentially just one of the biggest bad guys in the entire series.
Well,
extremely well skilled in martial arts, but the story is so convoluted. I'm sure anyone that's played it that is watching this Q&A understands why I can't really go too in depth because it's just so convoluted. There's so many games, but I definitely think Tao would win.
Yeah, I can't say anything. I don't know anything about Liquid Ocelot.
Do you think it would be cool to see Goku and Vegeta with their tails growing back helping their godly transformation? I guess it'd be cool, but it wouldn't make any sense. Besides, I mean, well, I can't say that. I was going to say they can go Super Saiyan 4, but we all know that's not not going to happen. But, yeah, I don't think it's really necessary for them to get their tails back. I think it'd be interesting, but it wouldn't really make sense. Right?
Right. It just doesn't at this point.
Who do you think was stronger, Piccolo or Nail before they fused? I think Piccolo was, but he wasn't that much stronger, was he? I mean, you made a very good argument in your most recent video. You know, what if Piccolo killed second form Frieza? Piccolo had to have been between 50 and 100,000, right? If Nail's a 42,000, considering you said, I mean,
Nail said that he stood no chance against Frieza the way he was, and Nail was fighting against an extremely suppressed Frieza who was toying with him so much that he ripped off his arm for fun. So when you factor in that Frieza could be that much stronger than Nail, I can't see Piccolo being anywhere near as strong as Frieza and even his base form before he fused with Nail. Yeah. And also, Josh, when we were planning that video out, you made a really good point, as I pointed out in the video, that it's still extremely impressive to go from having a power level of around 1500 to 2000 all the way to being stronger than Frieza's top henchman. I mean, that's an even bigger jump in power due to training than even Goku did on his little trip to Namek.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention, not only did Goku train a lot on his way to Namek, he also got a Zenkai boost too. So that goes a long way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, it would just make sense. It would just make sense for him to be stronger, really, for Piccolo to be stronger. I hope you read this. Would like to thank you. Okay. Would like to thank you, Qaaman, Black and Fist, ZZ Toasty, Rhyme South Thundershot, Mike Zero, and other DB tubers. The past few months I've been going through have been rough for me, and sometimes I feel lonely and hopeless. But watching your videos and interacting with the Dragon Ball community helps me a lot. Well, that really definitely makes me feel really good about stuff we do, and I'm sure you would think the same way, Qaaman.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's pretty amazing. We're just ordinary guys that, can make a difference in someone's life, right?
Yeah. This is definitely something I feel a lot more comfortable focusing the majority of my videos on over, Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Josh will tell you it was not fun the first year and a half doing, Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos.
Yeah. Okay. I know the question. We're gonna end it on Broly versus Bojack, but we'll get to that. Whis versus Baby Vegeta final form. I still say Baby Vegeta. That's just my opinion. I know there's not gonna be many. I'm probably the only Dragon Ball Z YouTuber out there, with a decent subscriber base, I guess you could say, that really sides with those GT characters. And I've brung up many points to why I say this. I mean, I don't just say it for funsies. I have valid points that I bring up, and a lot of people don't accept them, and that's fine. People come up with counter arguments, and that's good. But I just think that Baby Vegeta should be stronger. If Whis is, only, from what Toriyama said, Beerus is a 10 and Whis is a 15. If Whis is only 50% stronger, I'd still think that Baby Vegeta would be stronger. That's just my opinion. What do you say, Qaaman? Don't upset the fans. Don't have the angry mob at your doorstep in Antarctica.
Like I said, Josh, I don't want to go back to that bad argument, but that one would still stand. And even for Beerus, even for Whis, because Whis is 50% stronger than Beerus, which is huge. He knocked out Beerus with no problem, and that tells you, that really tells you, Josh, if you're 50% stronger than somebody, you can knock him out that easily.
That's the exact argument I've used to show that Beerus might not be that much stronger than Goku than we think. You know what I mean? If Whis is only 50% stronger, which, maybe Toriyama's blowing stuff out his ass, but if Whis is only 50% stronger, can knock Beerus out that easily, then that's saying a lot about power scaling in Dragon Ball, especially with those larger numbers.
But Josh, remember we've said before, a lot of people look at 50% stronger. You got to think 50% stronger is huge.
Yeah, it is.
20% is also really big. If you're 20% stronger than somebody, that's pretty considerable. So, 50% is enormous to beat another character.
And just for those of you who don't know the math, 50% stronger than Beerus would not even make Whis twice as strong. But that's not at all saying he's weak in any sort of manner. People seem to really mix up multipliers and percentages, but that's just kind of how I noticed things over the years. I can't say years. I haven't even been doing this for a year. But anyways, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks versus Super Gogeta, I would just give Gogeta the edge, even though, in my opinion, I think that Janemba was quite a bit weaker than Super Buu. I think that Gogeta would definitely be stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks.
I don't even think it's close, to be honest.
Burnout Fan 11, thanks for the question. Yeah, I don't think it's very close either, but moving on. Vegetto, Buu inside of his body, so I guess the buff Vegetto, right? Or Baby Goten, I definitely would think Vegetto. I mean, Goten wasn't that strong. I don't think but how much did Baby make him stronger though? I mean, Qaaman, you gotta remember how I think people really underestimate Vegetto's strength. Just because he's a character from Z, he was immensely powerful. And I know it's Baby Goten, and I actually don't have that good of a memory of how strong Baby Goten was. But I think Vegetto, I mean, it depends what Vegetto, Super Saiyan 3 Vegetto, I definitely think will be able to.
But the thing is, you gotta understand something, Josh. You remember, Baby himself is not that strong. He makes the host a little bit stronger, but I mean, you gotta factor in that, you know, Goten, we assume that he probably wasn't even training that much. And I mean, based off of the feats that he had at Super Saiyan, I mean, based off of the way he communicated with Trunks, I'm assuming that they're still probably not that much stronger than what they were as kids.
And not to mention that Vegetto, I mean, if you want to go by base form, would you say, I mean, it's hard to say, even though it's filler, he did fight Boo in his base form. I don't know if he really would be able to beat Boo in his base form or fight him like that. It was just filler. But I would definitely think base form Vegeta would be at least as strong as Super Saiyan 3 Goku, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing is that quite frankly, I think this question would have been a lot more comparable if it was comparing him to Baby Vegeta. Baby Goten.
Right. I don't think it's a fight. I thought you were arguing against me, but yeah, I don't think it's even a fight, because I mean, Vegetto would be at least as strong as base form as Goku was in his base form in GT, and I can't see Baby Goten being a Super Saiyan Goku. If that makes sense to everyone watching, hopefully it does, but yeah.
Actually, as a matter of fact, you remember how easily Kid Goku was like deflecting Baby Gohan and Baby Goten like they were nothing
in his base form, right?
Yeah.
So they're not even
like it was a toy.
So they're not even close to Super Saiyan 3 Goku level.
Yeah.
That's not very impressive. Thanks for the question, Marcus Martinez. All right, this is the final question for the day.
Actually, Josh, I am looking at 4 more questions that I really think that we should do.
From Harry Silver.
No, the one Harry's. Well, not just that one, but the one before that is also a really good question that I think we should do.
Oh, okay.
Give it to the fans, man. Give it up to the fans.
That's gonna be the most controversial question I think either of us have answered in Q&A. BoJack versus Broly. I think Broly from the first movie, or Broly from movie 10 definitely would beat BoJack. I even would make the argument, even though BoJack's, you know, farther than Broly in the, I guess, you know, storyline, he's a much later, or he's a later villain than Broly is from the first movie. I think Broly from the first movie give BoJack a run for his money, to be honest with you. I really do. And it's hard to say because Gohan was stronger due to the hypothetical Zenkai boost, but Super Saiyan Gohan I think did better against BoJack than against Broly.
Yeah, but I mean, another thing that I've always said, Josh, is, you know, we've said this before about movie pacing. I think that goes a long way. And a lot of people say, well, Qaaman, Gohan dispatched BoJack's crew in like 2 minutes. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's because the movie has to go on at a fast pace. And a lot of Dragon Ball Z movies wipe out the villain in, you know, in a very short amount of time. So I think that because of the fact that I've said, and I've done a debate, Cell versus BoJack, and I think that BoJack is weaker than Cell, because of Cell's techniques and also comparing him to Super Perfect Cell, who was able to damage Super Saiyan 2 Gohan very badly with a blast intended to hurt Vegeta. I'd say that Cell is stronger than BoJack, and because I made an argument that I think Broly in Broly's Second Coming was stronger than Cell for 2 reasons, because of the fact that I factored in. I think a weaker Super Saiyan 2 adult Gohan, yes guys, I think he's Super Saiyan 2, and I've made a whole video on that. Josh is probably going to link like 10 videos in this video. I think that an adult Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is stronger than teen Super Saiyan 2 Gohan using one arm if his power was really cut in half. Even though that could have been an exaggeration, I think that that's enough to say that Broly was probably stronger than that Gohan. So I would have to go with Broly. That's my reasoning. But we agree, but for different reasons.
How about you take this one?
Is it just me, or are people really dumb for saying Vegito isn't serious? Of course, we never saw a serious Vegito outside of having to use almost his full power to break Boo's dimensional ball, which didn't happen in the manga, because he was intentionally toying with Boo so he could get absorbed. Why do people not understand that, Dragon Ball Nation?
Well, it's just that people don't... understand they don't analyze Dragon Ball to the level that you know, a lot of other people might. People will casually watch and they don't catch those things. And you know, I thought it was pretty obvious that Vegeta was I mean, the Elder Kai even directly said that. So I don't know what people are thinking, to be quite honest. Do you have anything to add, Qaaman?
No, I just think he knew he was so much stronger than Boo. It was nothing.
Yeah.
Let me just point out really quickly, though, in the manga that it's implied that Vegetto was a lot closer to Boo's power, considering the fact that he powered straight up to Super Saiyan instead of toying with him in his base form.
Right. I don't actually think he could have beaten him in his base form, to be honest. But that's just me. I know he did it in the anime, but you know, in the manga that never happened. And people like to use the argument that, you know, he beat him when he was Candy, you know, that Jawbreaker. But it was stated that by him that he retained all his power. That includes his Super Saiyan power. So, you know, that kind of disregards that. But let's answer this controversial question: Super Saiyan Vegetto versus Super Saiyan God Goku.
You should go first.
Now, there was the statement made that Goku had just gotten beaten by Beerus, and as soon as he got woken up by that sensu bean, you know, he made that comment where he said, "I don't even think fusion would work." Now, he did just get woken up from, you know, being knocked out. He just got revived from that sensu bean, I guess you could say, and then directly said that, you know, he didn't think fusion would work. So he kind of, you know, didn't even think about it, and you can, you know, disregard that if you want. It's fine. I think it's a very hard debate because we don't exactly know how strong Super Saiyan Vegetto is. I don't really think Super Saiyan Vegetto could beat Super Saiyan God Goku, but I definitely think, let's say, a Super Saiyan 3, I think definitely could. That's just not even... I can't see any realm that Super Saiyan God Goku is hundreds of times stronger than, you know, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I guess. If that makes sense. You know, maybe even, it might be a stretch, but I think even Super Saiyan 2 Vegetto could beat him, hypothetically.
Wow.
But that's just my opinion. I mean, I really think people underestimate Vegetto. And like I've said, I don't think they were talking about Vegetto in the movie when they said fusion. It makes a big difference. And I've seen people argue that, you know, Vegeta wouldn't have done the dance. But, I mean, he was doing that bingo song. So, you know, I just think people really underestimate Vegetto. And I think that Goku's statement can have some weight to it. But at the same time, you know, he really didn't think about it. But that's just my opinion. And based on power scaling, it makes sense that Vegeta would win. As a Super Saiyan 3, at least. I mean, I think definitely a Super Saiyan 3, but that's just my opinion. What do you say?
Honestly, Josh, I'm gonna say something that completely contradicts you, and I disagree completely, and I have my reasons. And quite frankly, I think it has to do with Beerus. Now, yes, I know that Beerus put out a little bit more power against Fat Boo, but I mean, you got to factor in something here. Beerus flicked Fat Boo like he was a toy, and he also threw away Ultimate Gohan like he was absolute nothing. So that says for sure that Beerus is by far light years above both Boo tanks, and he's also light years above regular Super Boo. He also beat Gotenks like he was nothing too. So all of that says that he's stronger than those Boo forms. Now when you look at Boo-Han, it gets a little bit itchy, but I mean, considering the fact that he knocked out Super Saiyan 3 Goku that easily, and I know it's hard to scale because even Boo-Han is so much stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but Super Saiyan 3 Goku, even though he wasn't doing very well against, you know, Boo tanks in that quick fight, even though it's Boo-Han we're talking about, the fact that Super Saiyan 3 Goku at least could dodge a little bit, you know, at least hang in, seems like even though he's a lot weaker, you know, he's at least in the same stratosphere, but Beerus knocked him out without even trying. And I'm saying that because of that, it shows me that Beerus is far above any Dragon Ball Z villain. And that's why I would think when Goku said, even though you make a decent argument to point that, you know, Goku was saying, well, you know, I don't think it would work. I do think that Goku probably looked at the realm of possibility of fusion and is probably saying that so fusion in general wouldn't stop this guy. I need to go to a completely different scale of power. And I think that's the whole point of Super Saiyan God. So that's why I personally think that, you know, Beerus would beat, Super Saiyan God Goku. And I think that he would also beat Super Saiyan Vegetto, because Super Saiyan Vegetto is stronger than Boo-Han. But if we're just talking about Super Saiyan 1 Vegetto, maybe Super Saiyan 3 would hold up much better, but just regular Super Saiyan 1 Vegetto? No, I definitely disagree with that. And that's my reasoning.
All right. Well, I disagree, but you know, we all have our points. What would you, if you had to guess, what would you say Super Saiyan Vegeta would have done to Fat Boo if he fought him? What was his potential of damage he could have done, or humiliation?
He would have wiped them out.
Do you really think it's out of the realm of possibility that Vegito Super Saiyan could have flicked Fat Boo away?
Yeah, but I mean, when you also factor in that, I mean, you remember, Beerus wasn't even trying against those Z fighters.
Yeah.
He wasn't even putting any effort into them. Considering the fact that he fought a lot harder against Super Saiyan God Goku and only used 70%,
But
that tells me a lot.
But at the same time, Qaaman, you have to remember, Vegeta wasn't even trying against Buhan, and you remember how many light years Buhan is above Fat Boo. Let's say Vegeto's using the same amount of energy against Fat Boo. I mean, I would definitely think he'd be able to flick Fat Boo away. He'd be a fly. And then put Super Saiyan 3 on top of that.
True, Josh, but I'm just saying that when
8 times of a multiplier.
True, 8 times is huge, Josh, but you got to factor in that, I mean, Beerus wasn't even going all out against Goku, and I think that when you factor in that he can knock out a Super Saiyan God that easily, I'm sorry, not a Super Saiyan God, if he can knock out Fat Boo like nothing, Fat Boo and Ultimate Gohan and Gotenks and Vegeta, all like they're children who don't even know how to fight, and he's not even he's using a very small fraction of his power. I do think that Goku's statement, I don't think fusion would work, goes a longer way than you suggest, you know, but that's my opinion.
Well, my final statement is I just think that you may be underestimating the power of Vegeto's fusion, but, you know, we've been on this a long time, and,
yeah,
you know, I
think you could also use Fukatsu no F for additional points, but I'm not going to drag this out.
Yeah. This is the final question, because we've been at this for a long time. What are some tips for someone who has just started a YouTube channel? From Harry Silver 143. You, Qaaman, you should probably take this all because you've given me tips along the way, and you know they're appreciated, and you're just much better at giving tips than I am. I've had plenty of questions asked on tips for, you know, YouTube and stuff, so I think it's best, since you're the, you know, bigger YouTuber, 100,000 subscribers now, you know, you definitely are much more qualified for this.
Well, Josh, that's probably, what is this, like the 6th video? You should probably get a link now. I did a video in my 100K special, you know, giving a lot of major tips, but I mean, quite frankly, I think that one thing you really have to do, you know, outside of what I said in the video, I'll say something else, is you really got to find your unique market. And I talk to Josh about this constantly because, quite frankly, Josh will tell you, I did YouTube for about 1.5 years before most people would even have known who I was. And that's the reason, because I was doing Yu-Gi-Oh! And, you know, I did Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time, and quite frankly, it wasn't the market for me. And I don't want you to think, Harry Silver 143, I don't want you to think that Dragon Ball Z is the only market you can go into. If you want to do Dragon Ball Z, that's fine, but understand that if you do so, it's going to be a lot harder than as compared to me. And Josh and I have talked about this a lot. What works for one YouTuber cannot work for another. And the reason why is because of a basic economic concept of monopolies and oligopolies and all that stuff. And essentially what that means is if there's a lot of people who are making videos on a certain thing, it's going to be a lot harder for you to stand out than those people. For example, if I started off my channel to be a gaming channel, I wouldn't be anywhere near, you know, a lot of other YouTubers, because I do gaming as a secondary thing. And quite frankly, to be a gaming channel on YouTube, good luck, because there's so many people who want to do it. So what I say is find what you truly want to do and what makes you happy, and find something that makes you unique. I did discussions on Dragon Ball Z, and with the exception of Black and Fist, Josh will tell you, there was nobody on YouTube, nobody who did the type of videos I was doing. There were other Dragon Ball Z channels, you know, Super Saiyan Goshen Girls, you know, she did a lot of toy opening and box reviews. You know, you had Unreal Entertainment Gaming, who did a lot of what if fights. You also had Vegetto 1089, who was probably the most popular DBZ YouTuber back then, who was very popular for his what if fights and his power level videos, but none of them did in-depth Dragon Ball Z discussions that educated and did theories on the show and all that the way Black and Fist and I did. So that's one way that me and Black and Fist stood out from the average person, and that worked out for us, and now people come to us for the bulk of the Dragon Ball Z information. So if you want to stand out, it's going to be a lot harder because you're competing with bigger channels and other people who are used to watching it. For example, if you've been eating at McDonald's your whole life, if another fast food restaurant opens up, Josh, how hard would it be for them to get business?
Nearly impossible.
Right. I mean, but if they want to get business, they would have to stand out, right? They'd have to stand out from McDonald's. There are other fast food restaurants that open up that are doing pretty well. And how do they do it? Because they stand out. So all I'm saying is, truly follow your passion and do something that makes you unique. What do you have to give to the YouTube world that the average person doesn't? Quite frankly, I'll tell you, I have a lot more things I'd rather talk about than, just Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Z, but there's a lot of other things I want to talk about. But Dragon Ball Z is what really made me unique on YouTube, and I think that's where I am. And same thing for Josh. He has a lot of unique things to say about Dragon Ball Z too. And, all the other tips, you could watch my video to get those.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I have to really say is, a lot of people don't know this is like, without, the help of you, Black and Fist, Rhyme Style, I really wouldn't be anywhere near where I am. I got really lucky. I mean, I'd be lucky if I had about, a little over 1,000 subscribers right now. If it weren't for you guys, let me do videos with you and stuff, I would be nothing. And, I don't even know if I still would have been doing it. There may not have been enough motivation, but, thankfully now there's definitely plenty of motivation, all these fans, and, wouldn't have been here without you guys, so. That's all I gotta say. I mean, I got lucky, guys, so you can't really just expect going into YouTube to win. But you gotta try.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, too. Never give up. You
Nope.
won't make it. You will definitely fail on YouTube if you give up. I can guarantee you that, guys. Giving up is the absolute worst thing you can do for yourself.
Yep, but other than that, I mean, that really does it for the Q&A. It was an...
Wait a minute, Josh. Could we just quickly answer these next two questions?
Oh,
quickly.
boy. Well, we already answered the Evil Boo one.
Yeah.
Kid Boo wins. So I can just delete that. Was that the one you were referring to?
No, I was saying the all forms of Boo versus Super Vegito. What do you say?
All forms of Boo, not counting GT versus Super Vegito. I mean, Super Vegito would mop the floor with all of them. I don't even care if they're all going at the same time. He'd mop the floor. I mean, I think he could have annihilated Boo Han in one shot, so... And if you don't even want to include Super Saiyan 2 and 3, that's fine. I think Super Vegito's enough to wipe them all out. What do you think? Wouldn't it be a fight?
Considering, the fact that he let the fight drag on only because he wanted to get inside of their body, that says a lot.
Yeah, he would have mopped the floor. It wouldn't have been a fight. It really would not have been a fight.
So what do you think the other Boos would have done to Super Vegito, Josh?
Nothing.
Alright.
So guys, that's been the end of this Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had to turn off my fan to really record this Q&A, and I'm sure my computer at some point here may have gotten a little bit louder, but hopefully that wasn't too obnoxious. But there's not a lot I can do about it. If I make the mic too quiet, you guys won't be able to hear what I was saying. And I'm sure Qaaman's fine, and Danny Antarctica, he's got his heater on, all that stuff. But I'm here, sweating all sorts of business. But I hope you guys enjoy this Q&A, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching. And right after I get done my outro, I'll let Qaaman do his. So I'll catch you guys later. And what do you guys say, Qaaman?
Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. But remember, as I always say, if you've never heard me before, to have a great day, guys. Even if you're having a bad day, just have a good day by tuning out all of the negativity. And I want you to have the best day of your life.